Yes, of course, we can teach both facts and fiction as well. These three dots tell that she is not completely agreeing. It's about language function, how polished words you are going to use to a person, whether you agree or disagree. When you're not sure, you don't have to agree or disagree. See, all of these words or sentences which are used, they seem very polite, whether you agree or disagree. Namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram, the Temple of Excellence. I am Nandakishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, Mysuru. In my previous session, I had discussed about asking about preferences, one of the language functions. And in today's session, I am going to talk about agreeing and disagreeing. We have almost reached to an end, and within a couple of sessions we are going to wind up the workbook, first PUC English workbook, and with that we are done and dusted with the syllabus of first PUC English. Let us start with today's concept, agreeing and disagreeing. Expressions. Try to observe these expressions. If you open your workbook, the very first thing you get to see is three smiley faces, one and with different expressions, and these are put in the clouds, but I have just made a bit of modification, and according to this exercise, one of the similes say that learning English is pointless. Try to observe this concept. The moment you read this, most of you might feel yes, but it is not. The second person or second simile says, that's exactly how I feel. Learning English is pointless, it is baseless, it is useless, it is not going to help us in any way. Is it possible? No, it is not. So, for these two arguments or the concept, the third person or the third simile replies, I am afraid, I disagree. Because we are talking about how we are going to agree, or on what we are going to agree, and how we are going to disagree about the concept we have heard of, or we have read of, or even while discussing. So the third person says, I'm afraid, I disagree. It should be I totally disagree, but still the typed version in your workbook is I disagree. Now, do you think that learning English is pointless? You can't think that way, because today 90% of the world's population knows English, and the majority of the people, they prefer discussing, conversating, doing business in English, though Chinese or Mandarin language is the most spoken language by densely populated people. But let us know that English is one of the modern, the vehicle to reach our ideas between one country or between people from one country and the other country. Next, try to observe at the bottom of the page or at the bottom of the exercise. It is given, the above expressions are some ways of agreeing or disagreeing with someone, or it could be with some ideas or concepts that we are discussing. Now here is the conversation. Try to observe this. Study the following conversation. There is a dialogue, there is a situation, there is a context that we need to understand. The very first thing we get to know is concept A, Tanu. This is the situation A. Tanu, schools should teach facts. Very well said. Schools should teach facts, but always it is not possible. Abhi says, I agree, you are right. Surya says, I don't think so, I disagree. Try to observe the context here. Tanu says, schools should teach facts. I am only discussing about agreeing and disagreeing. I am not debating, or I am not going to debate that whether schools should teach facts. Of course, when the syllabus is prescribed for the students, we can only teach that, and once we come out of the boundary, only then we can take the facts and figures as a parallel example to the concept we are given to teach, and we are going to give it as an example. Yes, of course, we can teach both facts and fiction as well. Facts in the sense like where it has happened, the real things. And fiction is imagination, infatuation. We have to teach both. We cannot only rely on facts. So, with this statement, this is the statement made by Tanu. It is left to you. Each and every individual has his own perception, his own viewpoint. So Abhi says, I agree, you are right, or I agree, or you are right. Yes, of course, school should teach facts. But here, Surya says, I'm not going to agree with that. I don't think so. I don't think so. Try to observe the two ways of agreeing and two ways of disagreeing. Abhi says, I agree. Or he could tell, you are right. Yes, of course, it should. Surya says, I don't think so. That is not possible. Only rely on facts? Now, relying on facts would not serve us good marks. It would not serve us imaginative power. It will not help us develop the thinking capability. I disagree. He says, what happens when we start teaching only facts? We just assume, we just presume, we get to know, okay, this has happened. So we know, we are studying what has happened. So we cannot predict what is going to happen in future. We cannot say that. Facts or learning to know how facts happen would not serve us think what would happen in future. If we teach something else apart from facts, it could be infatuative stories or moral stories. And do you think that facts would teach us moral? It would teach us values. I'm just giving you extra information about this. It is not possible to completely rely on facts. Let us move on to the second one here. Here, the second context or second situation. Try to observe the conversation here. Sahil says, I think we need to spend more on industry. More on industry. Akash says, so do I. Arpita says, yes, that is true, but I'm talking about agreeing and disagreeing. Try to observe the sentences here. You may not have to tell every time, yes, I agree, yes, you are right. You can use multiple words to give your consent, whether you mean it or whether you don't, whether you say yes or whether you say no. But it depends on the words that you are going to use. Should you use only yes or no? Should you use only with yes, you are right and you are wrong? Or can you use some other words? You can use. But it depends on the context. It depends with each and every individual. But if you want to convey, if you want to agree, you should use the same words as it is conveying the meaning of agreeing. If you don't want to agree with somebody's point or somebody's viewpoint or somebody's opinion or somebody's answer, then you can use the words of disagreeing. Here, Akash is not saying, yes, you are right. He says that, yes, even I do feel the same, so do I. So do I in the sense, even I am feeling the same thing. Arpita says, yes, that is true. She is sort of agreeing and also disagreeing. But these three dots tell that she is not completely agreeing. It is not just a print mistake or a typed mistake here or the typed error here. Three dots mean there is something which continues. You should know that Arpita is not entirely agreeing. She is, okay, sort of saying yes, maybe yes, but still she says but. Okay, I don't think that you have to invest spend more on industry, rather you can invest or spend the money on something else. That is what she meant. Try to observe. You may use the following expressions. Agreeing. I agree entirely. That's a good point. You can say, you can use multiple language expressions. That's a good point. Yes, you are right. Yes, I agree. Yes, of course. Or indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. Now, in today's news, if you see it, the news has come up, or in today's generation, today's situation, we are stuck in a pandemic. And the government is debating whether to open the classes or the schools for the students where they can physically be present in the college or in the campus or in the educational institution, or should they not? Now, we should understand the context, we should understand the concept, and it is left to us, it is left to each and every individual. Each and every individual might have his or her viewpoint, opinion. And the news channels go to each and, at least, if not each and everybody, majority of the people, they just take the public opinion. They go and ask questions whether the government should open the schools and colleges for the students or not. And each of the customers or each of the parents or each of the person who comes and talks over to the media, they tell different opinions. They give different opinions because few parents are not ready to send their kids to risk their child's lives. They don't want to risk it. And few parents are totally okay with it. They don't disagree, they agree. They would say, I'm so fed up, we are so fed up. We being the parents, we cannot take care of our children. When are the schools and colleges or the educational institutions going to start or run the school? We want to send our kids right away from our houses. Though it is pandemic, they are okay. I'm not saying that they are bad, but majority of the people that prefer, apart from this, apart from not able to take care of their kids, they would say students, they are not able to have a live interaction. Though we might come up with live Q&A, question and answers, live interaction, camera connecting. Yes, I agree. But that doesn't feel complete for few parents. They want their daughters, their sons, their children to be physically present in the college and in the campus and to have a conversation with a teacher. And few teachers would also tell that they are really finding it difficult because think about me, I'm just standing here, I'm recording a video and I might upload it on my YouTube channel or our college YouTube channel, and a lot of students, they get to see it. But immediately when they have a doubt, they cannot get us connected. I know, of course, our college students would come to us, ask the doubt. Everything is possible with respect to students and teachers with the same college. But what about the people outside the college? They might have a doubt. They might leave a message in the chat box. We may not be able to find it properly. There are a lot of technical glitches happening. Or let us say there are a lot of online classes, not pre-recorded like us, maybe the live online classes, and they might not be able to remember or ask the question at that point of time because the instructions in the live classes will be clearly given saying that you're not going to interrupt us while teaching, and at the end of this live session, you're going to get your doubts clarified. So at the end of the session, by then, students would forget the questions. It is incomplete. So there are a lot of things happening in present situation, present days. So few people might agree and few people might not disagree with that. Coming back to this disagreeing, I'm afraid I don't agree, or I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid not. I cannot say yes. There are a lot of kids right? They want to have a bike, they want to purchase a new bike, and you go to your parents and ask your parents to buy a new bike. And your parents would tell, why do you want a new bike? You're not going to go to college, neither you're going to roam around outside. And for what cause do you need bike right now? Just to park your bike inside the house? No. Let it be, just after a year or maybe a couple of years, I'm going to buy you a car rather than bike. So your parents would use disagreeing, no, I'm afraid I can't buy you right now. Because they might have a financial problem as well. A lot of people were removed from their jobs. They have family. They have somebody to take care. How are they going to fulfill their needs? So anything which is demanded by them, they would disagree. I'm not sure. So some parents would tell, I'm not sure of buying a new bike for you. Or anything you demand from your parents' end. They may not be able to fulfill it, depending on their scenario or situation. Yes, that's quite true. And you might ask your parents, yes, of course, I may not ride it, I may not go to college, I may not roam around the city, but at least once in a while, maybe, at least for the sake of feeling happy, to make myself feel happy, I want a new bike. My peer group, my friends, all of us, they have their own bikes. And I'm the only one left out. So your parents might tell, yes, that's quite true. But, try to understand our situation as well. I'm financially bankrupt. I don't have any savings. And I'm not in a condition to pay the bank loan. Try to understand. So he could be using these words, polite words. See, all of these words or sentences which are used, they seem very polite, whether you agree or disagree. The main intention of teaching you the language function is how politely you approach a person and how politely you convince him. It's about language function, how polished words you are going to use to a person, whether you agree or disagree. And agreeing doesn't mean that somebody listens to your words and he would say, yes, yes, we are one, I have got your idea and I'm going to agree with it completely. No, even he is going to be very careful. So these are the words or the sentences you can use once you reach an official stage. You need to know before you promise somebody. You need to know that you are speaking to somebody who is going to give you a job. Your terms and conditions matter a lot. It is not just about you're in first PUC, you're going to know this, you are going to puke your answers on the answer script, secure marks and forget about it. It's not about that. Most of the youngsters, they don't know how well to approach somebody on street, somebody in the office, somebody in the railway station or maybe in any of the stations. They don't know if somebody denies their demand, they don't know how to get or how to convince them. How to convince the opposite person or how to get things done. All they want is yes. When you go and tell somebody that you want something, all they expect is immediate response from other end, which is not going to happen very easily. You need to develop patience. That is the main key role. And after this, you need to develop the sense or mentality or the common sense, I would say, of using such calibered words. And that will portray you as a good person, a polished, a more gentleman, I would say. That is the reason why language function is being taught. And there are 16 language functions. I suppose I'm reaching everybody with this concept. Next, let us move on. Here is a practice. Alright, this is our shortest language function that I'm going to discuss. Now, here are some opinions. Do you agree or disagree with them? So there are 5 opinions, there are 5 concepts. So are you going to agree with them or you're going to disagree with those concepts? The first one, pollution in cities has increased tremendously, which is very true. Yes, indeed. Yes, I agree. I agree it to the total. Of course, yes, you can use multiple words. It is true indeed. It's a fact. Let us agree it. Pollution. It could be caused by a lot of vehicles, smoke, right, and greenhouse gases, lot of emission. Yeah, and we are also polluting our environment by throwing plastic, littering the corridor in the campus, littering the classrooms. I have seen, if you go to North Karnataka, I'm not blaming those people. The culture is such that you walk up to that schools or colleges in North Karnataka, in every corner of the building, or maybe even in the classroom, maybe in the campus, outside the campus, it is so dirty. They have a habit of using or chewing pan. They spit on the walls. You get to see, you travel to bus stand in Mysuru or any other districts or any city's bus stand, you get to see walls are urinated, they are littered, they are spat, right? No matter whatever idea you come up with. I've seen people posting the God's picture, people using the God's tiles to avoid people urinating on the wall or spitting on the wall. Has it been reduced? Yes, to an extent. Possibly yes, or probably yes, I would say. But it has not been stopped. There are lunatics, there are hooligans who will damage the walls and still continue the same. Pollution. The more the population, the more the pollution. Right? Next one. So I totally agree with this opinion, and I suppose even you do. Next one is football is boring. No way. I don't think so. So you may agree or disagree, and you have the rights to say, I don't think so as well. I'm not sure. If you're not sure, you don't have to agree or neither disagree. When you're not sure, you don't have to agree or disagree. You can say that you're not sure because it is left to your perception. Few people might not like football. 90 minutes, 45 minutes each, right? First 11, and it is a beautiful game, beautiful to watch. And few people, they don't like football. They might like cricket. And you don't have to agree or disagree, as I told you. You can simply write, I'm not sure. I don't think so. It is boring. It is not boring, neither boring. Third one is space travel is a waste of money. I totally disagree. I don't think so. Because space travel, or let us say people who are in space, I'm not saying that space travel in the sense that you're going to board in an aeroplane and then fly above. No, that's not space traveling. Space traveling means, according to me, space traveling is like where astronauts go and discover something new, not just something else new. And there are a lot of space stations as well, and we get to see a lot of new things. It could be universe, or it could be new star, or it could be new planet, it could be new experiment. We have sent a lot of mission Mars. We are collecting a lot of data. One fine day our Earth might collapse, it might vanish. No life on planet Earth. So very soon they might find a planet which is suitable for a living being to survive in those conditions. So there are plenty of things. So it is not a waste of money. Of course it is not. So you can say, of course it is not, or maybe not. I don't agree. I don't think so. Fourth one, English is a very easy language to learn. English is a very easy language to learn. Again, I would say yes, but without practice, do you think that it is easy for a person to learn English very easily? Or for that matter, it could be any other language. Let us say I don't know French. And just because French people talk French fluently, that doesn't mean French is quite easy to learn without practicing. Or let me just limit myself to India. Let us say I don't know Marathi, and Maharashtra people, they speak Marathi very fluently. And just because my neighbor state people talk Marathi fluently, that doesn't mean even I should know it. Without practice, it is not so easy to learn. And likewise, even English is not an easy language to learn. But of course, it becomes easy as you keep practicing. So it is up to you to say yes or no, whether to agree or disagree, or whether you can tell, I'm not sure. Yes, of course you can tell. Can you tell it? Yes, of course, I'm not sure, because it depends on a perception, it depends on a person as well. Fifth one, strikes should be made illegal. What is this? Strikes. Band, we call, where people, they come out to the streets, they want to give a band, they want to declare band, they're striking. They're going on a strike, right? And it should be made illegal. Do you think so? No, you can't. To an extent, strikes or bands are good, because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of community who are not fulfilled their promises, who are not given the requirements, who are not given the jobs, and they would prefer going on a strike, because each and every individual, each and every Indian for that matter, is liable to demand his rights, to demand his livelihood. And if it is not fulfilled, of course, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of organizations which are going to benefit, which are going to help such people. And they are going to go for a jata, like sort of a padayatra. They're going to go walk on the streets, blocking the streets, that, we are gaining your attention. They want the attention from the powerful people. It could be ministers or anybody else. So it cannot be made illegal just because they are rebelling against the government, just because they are demanding, and just because the government cannot fulfill their demands, it cannot be made illegal. So you need to think, though the language function seems very simple here, it has got more inner meaning to give to the readers, to the students, and you students are the next generation, the next future. You need to know your rights. So that is why we discuss a lot more apart from the syllabus which is prescribed. We are going to bring in the parallel examples. We are going to educate you along with teaching English. So that is it for today's session. I'm going to meet you in my next session. In my next session, I'm going to talk about ending conversation, and I'm sure you all are watching my YouTube channels. And keep reading, keep practicing. I'm going to meet you in my next session. Until then, have a good day. Take care.